Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this Garden Tales video. So in case you guys haven't seen the short story yet, right, I'm gonna do a bit of spoiler in 3 seconds. So if you don't want to hear this spoiler, then skip this part. So 3, 2, 1. And yeah, so White Kid is basically White Beast that got transformed into the kid form when he wished for memories with a precious friend. So you guys seen the starting footage where Barry was talking to White Beast and then he transformed into this kid form. And yeah, that's pretty much it for White Kid. So White Kid can be considered a husbando unit or a kid unit in a sense, and he is probably one of the cuter units to come in the game. A little bit of gender bend because I initially thought this design is very female like, but then again, this is how most gacha games work. So in today's video, we're gonna run through whether or not this ferocious white beast in the game is worthy of your investment in the human form, and let's talk about how worthy is White Kid potentially. Okay, so let us take a look at the story for White Beast briefly, and you guys will find something really interesting, and that is the reason why White Beast wanted to transform lies in this paragraph, where White Beast tried to hug the princess but ended up crushing her. And White Beast only attempted to express his affection to the Guardian because the princess couldn't handle the White Beast's heavy body and sharp claws. So this sort of caused White Beast to restrain itself in the beast form and never ever showed affection to the princess afterwards. But in case you guys do not know, the White Beast's closest friend in Heaven Ho are the princess as well as the Guardian. So he really wanted to be good friends with princess, and that's why during the Snowflake Festival, the White Beast thought he could play with the princess as much as it wanted all day, so he turned into human by making a wish to Barry. So this pure-hearted wish from the White Beast was more than enough to motivate Barry, who had been sick from granting greedy wishes, and Barry taught the White Beast how to speak human and act like one, so he could spend some time with the princess, and he also bought lots of clothes and gifted them to the White Beast. So this is the outfit that Barry made White Kid wear or White Beast wear in the human form. So that's the design for White Beast. And soon after, you guys saw the short story for the festival itself, which I'm not gonna talk about. This is basically what this part is talking about. And after the festival was over, this kid form is not permanent, right? It caused White Beast to return into the beast form, but its bond with the princess became stronger, and it also allowed White Beast to figure out how to play with the princess without hurting her after being in the human form. So this made White Beast very contented, right? And this makes him really want to roll snowballs again to make the wish with Barry once again. So this is how the skill animation turns out. So this story is very touching in the sense, like if you read it, like initially I thought, okay, he just wanted to play the princess and stuff, but basically he wanted to spend more quality time with the princess, but he wasn't able to experience it in the beast form, so he wanted to be a human to do it. So this is definitely really touching, and this part also explains the ability as a whole, as I'll showcase the animation later. You guys will understand what I mean by rolling snowballs and not scratching people, right? So that is something. So with that, let us move on to the next part of the video, which is the stats and abilities analysis. Okay, so next one we talk about the stats. For the stats, on first glance, I think it's pretty decent, right? Average, a little bit higher in terms of all the defensive stat, but I think after like a little bit of consideration, I think it's kind of disappointing because the previous unit, which is Rosetta, is an Earth Ranger, right? This Earth Ranger has higher attack, higher defense, and same defense. I mean, higher attack and higher HP over here, right? And same defense. Whereas White Kid is a warrior unit, lower attack and low HP and same defense as a ranger. So the only saving grace for this unit is obviously the EX weapon stats distribution. So you have a crit chance as well as defensive stat on the gauntlet and also defensive percentage boost on the gauntlet as well. So this will allow him to survive longer. But then again, right, this defensive percentage don't really matter as a whole, which I'll talk about why later, because like in terms of the current meta, right, a unit without damage reduction is not gonna be tanky enough in the meta because the meta hits really hard. So if you look at his skills description, right, other than melee damage plus 50% and skill damage plus 8%, the overall stats is, I mean, the description is super easy. So snow is the normal attack, so you just attack enemy to inflict melee damage, very straightforward, right? The animation is over here, very straightforward. You just go out and then punch your enemy. And then the chain skill is Snowman, so he drops a Snowman to inflict 290% DPS as melee damage So you guys can see he has a lot of emphasis on the melee side. And the last one is Winter Magic. So on hit, it reduces water type resistance of enemy by 10% for 3 seconds. So you can overlap up to 2 times, so up to 20% water resist down. And for each water type hero in the party, this also increases White Kit's water type attack by 5% up to a maximum of 20%. So very straightforward damage boost special ability. And then for the EX weapon, the final attack of Snow, which is the normal attack, creates a snow mound that lasts for 2 seconds. So your enemy will walk off it and then it will do damage to them. So that is for the EX weapon itself. Then for the weapon skill, it's gonna be a big one. It's basically him rolling a snowball, and the snowball will actually increase in size, eventually hitting a target. So this EX weapon, right, takes about 2 weapon skills to chain, but I'll say like there's 2 or 3 major issues with this skill itself, because number one, this skill doesn't really pass through walls or obstacles. So in arena, right, if it touches a wall, it touches a corner, it touches a box, it gets done, right? You just hit the wall and it's done. So it's very hard to land. And secondly, right, because you can actually control the snowball where the hero moves, but it's really slow and very easy to dodge by just simply running. So this weapon skill is not easy to hit. So yeah, this skill is probably more towards the PvE side. And in general, this unit as a whole, right, I'm just going to put a disclaimer first before I conclude. White Kit is more PvE centric than anything else, right? So that is my initial spoiler before the conclusion, and let us move on to the next part of the analysis. Okay, so next up, let's talk about the Colosseum and Arena analysis for White Kit. So for this unit as a whole, I'm just going to talk about him briefly. If you look at the rankings itself, right click is White Kit is nowhere to be seen. So this is very easy to explain because number one, like he doesn't have amazing weapon skills like Lina or Future Princess, so not going to be a good lead. And he doesn't have an amazing team ability like Craig or even Ogma that warrants his usage in a team setting. And lastly, the meta right now has a lot of Earth units. So Mono Earth team, Rosetta, Kamel, Craig, as you guys can see, they're everywhere. And there's also Parvati running around, so he's not going to see much use. And lastly, his party buff is melee attack. So you can use him in the melee team, but right now, the good melee units in the Colosseum settings are units like Beth and Parvati, which has the ability to go after the backline to kill them quickly. So in all this description that I mentioned, right, one thing for White Kit, he's not very good in Colosseum, and you probably shouldn't use him on his initial release. Until he get a major buff, this unit will remain rather irrelevant in the Colosseum game mode itself. And next, we talk about the Arena. So I mentioned earlier that this unit is just not very good for the Arena side, so I'm just gonna briefly let you guys see the ranking right now. There's no White Kit to be seen, and I'm gonna talk about why. So this is mainly due to the exclusive weapon skill, the snowball ability, right? If you guys look at the map itself, right, Shen City Ring is a very small map. So by right, you'll think that melee units like White Kit will perform here, but the thing is, it's not, because the weapon skill for White Kit is just outrageous. The moment it hits the corner of the wall, it hits a part of the wall, or it hits the box in the middle, it gets done, it gets cancelled. So in most cases, right, you literally have no way to change your opponent in the arena setting, because if the map is too big, you roll the ball from one corner and your opponent runs away from you, they can dodge it very easily. And if it's a very close map, very small map, if the snowball touches an obstacle or wall, right, then it's done as well. So there's just so many maps where this unit is not functional, and because he doesn't have amazing defensive stat as well, like why would you use him compared to like Beth, who has damage reduction, decent damage, and gets bonuses when you're fighting against summoner units. So that's why White Kit is not going to be good in Colosseum and Arena. So that's just something for you guys to take note of when he's initially released. Okay, so let us talk about the PvE side of things. So I'm just going to say that this unit is meant to be used in the water melee team, as you guys have seen from the multiple parts of his kits, from the damage buff by putting him together with water units, to the water resistance down that he apply on heat when he hits the enemy. So you can definitely expect him to shine in the water melee team. However, that being said, right now the water melee archetype is a little bit lacking in terms of hero. So I think Yuze is an amazing water melee unit. You can put her with White Kit, and you can also run the base form of White Kit, which provides water resist down as well as a water attack damage. So this is a few units you can put him together with. So this is definitely something that we can make it work, but I still doubt the ability of the damage that he could do, because I haven't seen a lot of people try it out in terms of showcasing, so I do not know, but it's a possibility. So this unit is probably a future raid type of unit, but right now a little bit lackluster, and I think it's dependent on whether or not the whales will start to showcase him. So that's for the PvE side. In terms of every other content, he's simply not very good because like Expedition, no AoE, lousy weapon skill, and story mode doesn't have a heal, doesn't have tankiness, and doesn't have sustain. So yeah, that's my PvE conclusion about White Kit. So below are some reasons to pull or invest in White Kit. And how worthy is White Kit potentially? So for White Kit, I'll say that he's kind of undesirable when he's initially released, because if you are a decent raid player, you would have a very powerful water team already, a water range team consisting of Garum and a bunch of other amazing units. So White Kit as a whole right now, if you want to use him in the water raid team, he's possible, but he's probably not gonna be the best choice yet. So you need time to actually see him developed. Whereas in terms of the every other game mode, White Kit is just terrible there. Like I usually don't see so little usage for new unit in the KR server. Like people don't even bother trying this unit out. So this just speaks volume of how bad this unit is in every other game mode. So that's that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for White Kit. He's gonna be a really super niche water team melee setup kind of unit. So if you're planning to pull for him on that, then do start to pull for him. And on top of that, there's also a mileage event, so you can definitely consider spending a little bit of resources on White Kit just to pass the mileage event for additional value. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for watching as usual, and do remember to like and subscribe in order to see more Garden Tales content from this channel, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!